Ever consider how brilliance might occasionally be a prison masquerading as freedom? While people with less depth seem to blend in so effortlessly, how is it possible that the brightest brains are frequently isolated from society? Nearly 200 years ago, philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, who was never afraid to shock, answered this question. According to him, people unconsciously avoid facing their feelings of inferiority because intelligence is not only a trait to be admired, but also a reflection of others' shortcomings. He asserts that the loneliness of bright minds is a reality that has persisted throughout human history rather than a coincidence. However, even if a person with a higher level of intelligence stays silent, why is their presence so unsettling? What's wrong with a mind that just reflects the flaws in the world around it, rather than forcing itself? According to Schopenhauer, this is an inevitable response to the mirror that intelligence turns into rather than a flaw in the clever person. Intelligence frequently causes discomfort, but wealth, strength, or beauty are freely praised. However, why does this occur? Why does Schopenhauer think this animosity is so enduring? And why did he think it would still be relevant now, as it was in the 19th century? Why do we tend to embrace what is comfortable, even if it isn't genuine, while avoiding the truth, even if it hurts? Schopenhauer started to notice a seemingly consistent trend. Intelligent people frequently experienced social exclusion, not only in academic settings, but in any group. This tendency appeared everywhere, as though people were trying to push people away for no apparent reason, the more they stood out intellectually. If this article resonated with you, share it with someone who can relate to your struggles. By working together, we can disseminate this idea and alter our perception of intelligence. It was a result of this person's presence subtly undermining other people's sense of value, not a question of conceit. Schopenhauer lived a calm life thanks to his inheritance. Therefore, he didn't require social acceptance to get by. Because of this, he was able to examine society without worrying about being accepted. He kept a close eye on the formation of groups and the systematic exclusion of certain individuals. And he discovered that these dynamics were always the same, despite the fact that they were unpleasant. Schopenhauer's theories are supported by modern science, which demonstrates that brilliance may create discomfort and lead to marginalization, even when it is valued. Corroborating research from contemporary psychology has demonstrated that social isolation is common among those with high intellectual potential. An intriguing discovery has been made in the field of neurology recently. The brain responds to intellectual inferiority in a manner comparable to that of physical discomfort. According to a 2021 study, the amygdala, the part of the brain that controls our strongest emotions, is activated when we encounter someone with greater intelligence. This response, which is literal rather than figurative, demonstrates that the same parts of the brain linked to fear and physical discomfort are activated when there is greater intelligence present. In groups, this reaction becomes more intense. The impact is less if we are by ourselves with a more intelligent person. However, the sense of danger is increased in a group setting. This implies that maintaining our social standing takes precedence above safeguarding our personal self-worth in our minds. But Schopenhauer also offered a more profound understanding of the processing of these unconscious processes. He thought that intelligence rejection was a reflection of a more intricate psychological dynamic rather than something that happened at random. When a more intellectual person enters the scene, people inadvertently start comparing themselves to that person. This is a natural process that stems from a deep psychological reaction that is frequently unconscious. Consider a professional versus a group of amateurs. Because of the athlete's skill and the discomfort his presence gives the other players, the quick encounter is shocking. Schopenhauer recognized that this type of dynamic is present in how individuals handle other people's intelligence and is not just found in sports. Many people blame others who are academically gifted for their frustrations, rather than acknowledging their own limits, which creates an imperceptible barrier between them. The funny thing about this phenomena is that most of the time, nobody expresses how uncomfortable they are. Although they don't express it out loud, people think that those around them who are more intelligent think less of them, even if this hasn't been implied in any manner. It's almost as though having a highly intelligent person around is already a silent condemnation. In actuality, though, those who are smarter than others seldom intend to elevate themselves. In reality, the most notable trait of bright minds is their extreme avoidance of judgment. In any case, their presence turns into a mirror of the fears of others. Even when the individual in question has never displayed any pride, it is not unusual to hear remarks such as, "He thinks he's superior." This type of reaction might be triggered just by standing out. Schopenhauer also investigated how gender affects how people respond to intelligence. Because of their brilliance, both men and women can be rejected, but women have more difficulties. In addition to their academic prowess, they are shunned because they don't behave in a way that conforms to social norms. In this situation, society pushes one to choose between being respected and admired, and rarely both at the same time. Strangely, female intelligence frequently elicits a negative response, despite the widespread celebration of female physical attractiveness. Compared to women who stand out for just one of these qualities, women who combine brains and attractiveness frequently experience even greater isolation. It can be challenging to overcome the dichotomy that intelligence tends to shun beauty. Recent studies support Schopenhauer's theory by demonstrating that, in contrast to men, women with high IQs frequently suppress their own abilities in social situations. This conduct is linked to a phenomenon known as competence compensation, which states that women find it harder to be viewed sympathetically by both men and women the more capable they appear to be. And has anyone ever observed that the most popular person in a social gathering is rarely the smartest? The strength of mediocrity is how Schopenhauer explains this circumstance. People don't challenge others when they are average. Instead, they foster a relaxed atmosphere in which nobody is forced to doubt themselves. Everyone is comfortable with their own degree of comprehension in such a situation and is not compelled to consider their limitations. The tendency of social group conversations to remain secure is remarkable. People feel at ease with light-hearted remarks, simple jokes, and unimportant subjects that don't need much thought. Everyone is comfortable, and any pain is avoided with this type of surface-level interaction. However, the atmosphere shifts as soon as a more sophisticated or thought-provoking notion is presented. You notice that the mood has abruptly changed as the talk turns strained, and a pause occurs. This occurs everywhere. Greatly talented artists are frequently overlooked, whereas artists with mediocre skill are given more credit. Authors who simplify their thoughts for the masses tend to sell more than those who go into great detail. This is due to the fact that nobody is challenged by mediocrity. No one is made to feel inferior by it. This pattern is more prevalent now than it has ever been. The popularity of quick and easy ideas is seen in the workplace and on social media. The co-worker who appears most accepted is the one who stays out of more in-depth discussions and stays out of contentious debates. In the meantime, more intricate posts or reflections hardly ever receive the attention they merit. This dynamic is also evident in the business sector, where we coin new terms like emotional skills and organizational culture. Despite the significance of these ideas, they are frequently simply applied to steer clear of circumstances that can cause intellectual discomfort. The most successful are not usually the smartest, even in fields like technology, where intelligence is prized. They are frequently the ones who are able to help others accept their own limitations. This distinction is much more noticeable on social media. Opinions that are quick and simple go viral while difficult thoughts are ignored. Why? It can be uncomfortable to halt and ask yourself questions when engaging in deep pondering. Deeper thought compels us to confront our own doubts, which is difficult for some people. This trend is evident even in the educational system. Although schools claim to value intelligence, who actually receives the most attention? It's not those that offer original ideas or fresh perspectives on the world, but rather those who are able to make their concepts easily understandable to others. Schopenhauer pointed out this dichotomy quite clearly. Society rejects intelligence while simultaneously relying on it. Although wisdom is essential, we tend to shun it whenever possible out of fear of the discomfort it may cause. Why do brilliant minds frequently only get acknowledged after they pass away? There are several examples throughout history of people who only gained the acclaim they merited after they passed away, including Marie Curie, Newton, and Einstein. They experienced rejection and even loneliness throughout their lives. For instance, Curie was ignored by the scientific community of the day. Einstein was ridiculed by professors, and Newton lived a solitary life. Over time, this discrepancy between late recognition and modern rejection recurs. Businesses now demand innovation, but they also avoid concepts that are truly revolutionary. Despite their desire for the best students, universities ultimately place a higher value on conformity to rules than on creativity. Although society longs for advancement, it frequently refuses to accept those who have the capacity to actually propel it. The uncontrollable nature of intelligence was noted by Schopenhauer. Wealth, physical strength, and even looks can all be controlled, but the human mind is unbreakable. One of the most difficult aspects of intelligence is that it cannot be controlled or shaped to suit one's preferences. However, realizing this does not imply that loneliness is a weight that cannot be overcome. He also provided us with a solution to this problem. Realizing that your intelligence is not a flaw is the first step. People's responses to it are social in nature rather than personal. The pain your intelligence causes is a reflection of how other people handle it, not of who you are. Schopenhauer's counsel was unambiguous. Express your most profound thoughts to people who can genuinely value them. Being strategic is more important than keeping what you know a secret. It's crucial to pick the appropriate times and people to engage with you. Realizing that not everyone is prepared for what you have to offer does not imply that you are less intelligent. Seek out those who will appreciate your vision. Some of the most brilliant minds in history have managed to strike a balance between their innate intellect and their need for social interaction. For instance, Richard Feynman was a master at simplifying difficult concepts in addition to being a brilliant physicist. Programming pioneer Ada Lovelace established interactive venues where the most creative minds could express themselves without worrying about being rejected. Known for his sharp mind, Benjamin Franklin always presented himself as a student rather than an authority, encouraging the sharing of ideas as he pursued lifelong learning. These instances demonstrate that being brilliant need not be a punishment. Schopenhauer was advising us on how to properly negotiate this social field, not that intelligence should be painful. Even individuals who were far from the academic mainstream, like Einstein or Darwin, who spent years alone in their studies, were able to have a significant impact on the world. Knowing when and how to engage with the outside world is essential to avoiding feeling alienated by your intelligence. This could entail selecting the appropriate settings where you will be heard or stepping back at specific points. Being true to yourself while negotiating intricate social interactions is more important than trying to hide who you are. Society will always require intelligence, regardless of how strongly it opposes it. Every significant advancement in history has been fueled by someone with the guts to stand out, think outside the box, and see beyond. Remember Schopenhauer's words: when you feel that your intelligence is being disregarded, you are not incorrect. Many people would rather not see the truth that you are reflecting. Now that you have a better understanding of the intricate relationships between social acceptance and intelligence, please share your ideas in the comments section below. How do you feel about this partnership? Have you ever been the smartest person in the room and felt uneasy about it? For more videos like this one, remember to subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. Keep in mind that it is a distinct way of thinking that transforms the world.